Howdy, my favorite friends and gamers! Today we will be discussing, dissecting, and doing an analysis on the song titled It's Over by the lovely team JT Music. This song in particular is about a video game I really love, Mouthwashing, by Wrong Organ Studios. This is a spoiler warning. There are spoilers in this song breakdown for the video game Mouthwashing. You have been warned. The start of verse 1 of the song is, "This is the captain's log, no problem reported. And if there was one, I would not have ignored it." I think this initial verse is already starting with a hint of a sarcastic ring because of Captain Curly's obliviousness, and how Jimmy ultimately never took responsibility. Another line in verse 1 I find to be notable is this a cargo haul I should have called to abort? I feel this line is a subtle reference to Anya's situation and how the literal sense of aborting the delivery mission likely would have saved everyone's lives. The very next line is, "The bigger picture's all the lookin' I can afford." I feel this is a direct reference to the dead pixel scene of the game, in which Anya tries to confide in Captain Curly about seeing the dead pixel in the corner of the simulation screen. I feel this is also a direct reference to the part in that conversation in which Curly says, "I guess I'm just used to seeing the bigger picture." I believe this lyric to be saying how Curly overlooked important negative details in order to quote-unquote see the bigger picture, while Anya is being tortured by the dead pixel, always reminding her it is there. Curly can't even see it. We'll talk more about Curly's complicity later. The second thing I wanted to mention about this is the afford part. This might seem a little random, but at a certain point in the game, Anya says, "I don't have any savings." I feel the afford word here could be in reference to that, in which Anya can't afford a whole lot because she doesn't have any savings, no money. This next line in verse 1 is directly accompanied by pain in the voice of the singer, with Captain Curly's post-crash design, implying it is likely Curly singing this part. The line is, "Tell me what's just one small step for man. It's not a leap to keep my feet where they stand." This is obviously a reference to the famous Neil Armstrong quote, "One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." In the context of the game Mouthwashing, however, I feel this is a reference to how in the events of the game, Curly does nothing about what is happening. He is quote-unquote keeping his feet where they stand, passively standing by while Anya is assaulted. The final line in verse 1 I wanted to cover is, "If I leapt off of this ladder, would it matter where I land?" I think this is a reference to what Jimmy says in the game, saying that Curly was on top of the ladder while everyone else was at the bottom or still climbing. The other thing I wanted to say with this lyric, during that conversation between Jimmy and Captain Curly, Curly says, "Do I take the risk and try something new even if I'm really bad at it and I'll be starting all over again?" I think the "would it matter where I land" part is saying it doesn't matter because Curly will be starting all over again. Finally, we have made it to the chorus. I feel the very first line, "Looking into this eye," is a reference to how Curly looks at Jimmy in-game with his one exposed, intense, staring eye. The following line is, "Should have put someone on the no-fly, now that we're losing more than our minds." I feel this is a line of direct regret coming from Curly, because of his inaction and how he should have done something about Jimmy. The next lyric in the chorus I really wanted to cover is, "Wonder what's in the foam on the tide." I feel this is probably a hint to the parts of the Tulpar ship that were damaged in the crash that activated the emergency foam to protect the crew. The final lyric in the chorus I wanted to discuss is, "But I won't cry, it's over." I have two things I'd like to say about this line. The first is, I feel it is describing the finality and acceptance of a relationship ending and reflecting on past mistakes. The second is, it's what I would say to Curly. "It's okay, Curly, it's over." Verse 2 has many powerful lyrics, but the one I wanted to cover first is, "If I'm held to my worst moment, can you help but exploit it?" I feel this has a double meaning, as how Anya says in-game, "Our worst moments don't make us monsters." I feel this is a reflection of abuse for Anya through Jimmy's actions and Captain Curly's inaction. The next lyric is, "Go on, just have your cake and eat it, hope you fucking enjoy it." This lyric is obviously very aggressive, and the reference with cake I think is implying the connection between the birthday celebration for Curly. It is ruined by the reveal that all the crew has been fired. Jimmy has a crash out, and after his tantrum concludes, he says, "Let's have some fucking cake, hmm?" The next few lines are all pertaining to the character Swansea. He is seen on screen, and all the lyrics reflect his frustration toward his own self-pity and lapse in his sobriety. In my opinion, this is very powerful stuff. I originally wasn't going to go through Swansea's lyrics. I figured this is a breakdown of the song though, so I will cover some of his lyrics today. Seriously, please listen to this song. This video is not a substitute for how amazing this song is in any way. They absolutely crushed it with this banger. So much care and effort went into this. Please go support them. Link in the description. The first of Swansea's lyrics is, "'Cause when we crash and this illusion is smashed, nobody's eyes will be blind to the grind of an axe." I feel this is a reference to when the Tulpar ship crashed and a reference to when Swansea smashes the simulation screen with his axe. The final lyric with Swansea I wanted to cover is, "Even if at the end there's light, never meant I would find my closure." I think this is a reference to how Swansea falls into self-pity. I think what this lyric is trying to say is that even if there is hope, that doesn't mean closure is guaranteed. The next lyric I really wanted to cover is, "Just be silent and smile. Teeth are shiny, what they hide might be foul." I feel this is a reference to Curly's silence as he cannot speak anymore after the crash. And I think that it is also symbolic of Jimmy's foul, harsh, mean words, but covered with a quote-unquote shiny cover. His tongue used to speak harsh words, but teeth were covered with a smile. The final line in verse 2 is, "Don't look down, all you'll find is denial." Jimmy is in a constant state of denial about killing all of the crew and really only apologizes to Curly and doesn't fix anything. My favorite lyric in the entire song is here. Chorus 2 starts with, "Looking into this eye, can see the fault in all of its mind. The man who never draws any line declines control." I find this to be a very powerful lyric as Curly isn't perfect. These events aren't entirely his fault, however. Curly is the kind of person who blames himself even when something isn't entirely his fault. Jimmy is ultimately the villain and the one who hurt everyone, but Curly's inaction enabled this behavior by Jimmy. The last few lyrics I wanted to cover in chorus 2 is, "Out of the dark and into the fire bright it burns, but I would set aside the ice for her." Curly is literally burned into the fire in the explosion, and he is pictured on fire in Jimmy's hallucination. But I think, "But I would set aside the ice for her" is about Anya. I think it is about how Swansea was saving the cryopod for either Daisuke or Anya. I think another possible meaning is Curly referring to the ship, as ships are often referred to as she's, and how he quote-unquote kept the peace by not taking any action against Jimmy. The idea behind that is putting it on ice. Again, this song is beautifully made and so much detail and care went into it. I don't want to spoil every single part of the song. Verse 3 begins with, "You covet control, co-pilot you fly." To some this may be very obvious or on the nose, as Jimmy is the co-pilot of the Tulpar, but I think the more important part here is the word covet. Covet is to desire something belonging to someone else very strongly, oftentimes with a sense of envy or greed. I want to make it clear that this isn't just feeling a sense of jealousy. I wanted to include this as food for thought, but covet is literally the 10th commandment in a biblical sense. For those unfamiliar, a commandment in the Bible is a divine rule or instruction from God, serving as a guide for moral and spiritual living. I see this as more of idealizing or a sense of materialism. Jimmy doesn't just feel a bit of jealousy. Jimmy has a desire to be on top and better than the other people around him. One lyric that I feel can't go ignored is, "Sure, you work like a horse, the type I'd send into Troy." This is obviously a reference to a Trojan horse, which was a wooden horse used by the Greeks in the Trojan War to enter the city. I think the "work like a horse" is someone who works very hard and with dedication. I think that in the context of mouthwashing, it is saying Curly allowing Jimmy on the ship caused everyone's death from the inside. I find it very interesting that Pony Express is called that Pony Express, which is a type of horse. I think the "work like a horse" is implying that Pony Express is working them like a horse, making them work very, very hard. The next lyric in the song we will be covering is, "Why check the baggage? Just ship it. Tragedy can't be predicted. After the matter, we'll fix it. Implicit isn't complicit, is it?" These are very powerful lyrics in my opinion, as complicit is defined as helping another commit a crime or other illegal activity. It is also defined as knowing of a crime and doing nothing to report it or try to stop it. Curly is complicit in the crime of Jimmy's sexual assault of Anya. I personally love how they sing Is It? Christian Ames is the name of the singer, however most of you probably know him as Skull, and I believe he crushed it with this song, and this lyric in particular. It is delivered with a sense of questioning and devastation in the vocal that is simply masterful. The end of the song is a very abrupt shift to an advertisement style type track for the Dragon Breath brand mouthwash. I feel this is a masterful ending because of how in the end, this tragic event for all of these characters probably barely affected Pony Express brand cargo delivery or the Dragon Breath brand mouthwash. But I won't cry, it's over. Thank you all so much for your time. I genuinely have been working on this video for quite a while and I wanted to get it right. I appreciate you all so much. I wanted to give a shout out at this time to Genius, as their breakdown of the song lyrics was a massive help in making this video, so link in the description to that as well as the song. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day or night. Please leave a like if you enjoyed this video and subscribe for more. Leave a comment if you have anything additional you'd like to say or songs for the future I should cover. I hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye for now.
If you find the one, you should never give her up. I think it's the way life changes when in love, yeah. I surround my soul with the positivity. That's why I don't worry about the things that I don't see, yeah. These days I don't worry about much. I think we should have some more fun. I still dream about the days when we were young. I'll take a hit and still finish in one, yeah, yeah.